So could you imagine the God complex that Vijaya thought she had, having the FBI right over your shoulder saying, yeah, do this, do that. You don't got anything to worry about. Nobody's ever going to find out about this. Yeah, you want to deplatform anybody? Oh, they put a MAGA hashtag in there. Oh, they tweeted a screenshot from the CDC's own website. Yeah, deplatform them. Free speech, not in America. I don't know where she's from, but she barked up the wrong tree. Check this out.
I, along with many Americans, have long-term effects from COVID. Not only was I a long hauler, but I have effects from the vaccine. It wasn't the first shot, but it was the second shot that I now developed asthma that has never gone away since I had the second shot. I have tremors in my left hand, and I have the occasional heart pain that no doctor can explain, and I've had a battery of tests. I find it extremely alarming Twitter's unfettered censorship spread into medical fields and affected millions of Americans by suppressing expert opinions from doctors and censoring those who disagree with the CDC. I have great regrets about getting the shot because of the health issues that I now have that I don't think are ever going to go away. And I know that I'm not the only American who has those kinds of concerns. Another example of what Twitter has done to censor folks is from Dr. Martin Kulldorff, a Harvard-educated epidemiologist, who once tweeted, "COVID vaccines are important for high-risk people and their caretakers. Those with prior natural infection do not need it, nor children." The Twitter files reveal this tweet was deemed false information because it ran contrary to the CDC. So my first question this morning of Ms. Gadde, may I ask of you, where did you go to medical school?
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry?
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter had the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing...
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors.
If Vijaya's now a loose end of the FBI, she's probably a loose end of the Clintons. She's definitely a loose end of Twitter. Vijaya, any advice? It would be start speaking immediately. Reach out to Jim Jordan. Nah, scratch that. Don't reach out to Jim Jordan. Matt Gaetz. I would reach out directly to Matt Gaetz. Lauren Boebert. Reach out to one of those two and make a deal before you are spending the rest of your life in prison. Make this easy for everybody. Flip on these clowns. They're not going to be looking out for you. This is way too big. You're not going to be able to stop it. I advise that you speak up immediately. If you don't, let me tell you a little bit about prison. It's not a fun place to be. Just wait till those handcuffs go on, Vijaya. And I promise you, that first night you spend in jail, you're going to really realize what you did to us. And nobody's going to feel bad for you. Keep that in mind.
Stanford-educated doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silence those voices. I have another tweet by someone with a following of a full 18,000 followers. This person put a chart from the CDC on Twitter. It's the CDC's own data, so it's accurate by your standards, and you all labeled this as misleading. You're not a doctor, right, Ms. Gadde?
No, I'm not.
Okay, what makes you think you or anyone else at Twitter have the medical expertise to censor actual, accurate CDC data?
I'm not familiar with these particular situations.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not. But this is what Twitter did. They labeled this as inaccurate. It is the government's own data. It's ridiculous that we're even having to have this conversation today. It's not just about the laptop. This is about medical advice that expert doctors were trying to give Americans because social media companies like Twitter were silencing their voices. I have another question, my last one for you, Ms. Gadde. Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to pressure Twitter to moderate or censor certain tweets? Yes or no?
We have a program.
Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to censor or moderate certain tweets? Yes or no?
We receive legal demands to remove content from the platform from the U.S. government and governments all around the world. Those are published on a third-party website, and anyone can review
Thank
them.
God for Matt Taibbi. Thank God for Elon Musk for allowing to show us in the world that Twitter was basically a subsidiary of the FBI, censoring real medical voices with real expertise that put real Americans' lives in danger because they didn't have that information. I also want to thank one of my colleagues, Ro Khanna, because as it turns out, censorship isn't just an important issue to conservatives. Some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, like Ro, found this censorship very concerning. And he even wrote to you and to folks at Twitter that he was concerned about the First Amendment being censored. So I want to thank him for speaking up and speaking out about this issue, because this should not be a partisan issue. This should be an issue that's an American issue. Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record, I ask unanimous consent, to enter into the record a Wall Street Journal article from December 9th, 2022 by Justin Hart entitled "The Twitter Blacklisting of Jay Bhattacharya." Enter the record, please, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, and I yield back.
It's not going to be long before people start flipping, because we just need to turn one of these Twitter employees, these CEOs, into an informant, and then they're going to rat and expose everything. So if we can just get one person to flip, I bet it's going to be Vijaya. It's going to be her or Yoel Roth. They're both looking at hardcore prison time, so let's dive into it.
Do you think they lied today in this
100%. Yeah, they lied to my face.
Wow.
They lied to my face.
You, ladies and gentlemen, interfered with the United States of America 2020 presidential election, knowingly and willingly. That's the bad news. It's going to get worse, because this is the investigation part. Later comes the arrest part.
I wouldn't agree with the characterization.
I don't care if you agree. This is your stuff. Yes or no, did you communicate with a private entity, the government agency, on a private cloud server, yes or no?
The question was if I
Yes or no? Yeah, I'm on time. Yes or no?
Ma'am, I don't believe I can give you a yes or no.
Well,
answer
I'm going to tell you right now that you did, and we have proof of it.
But to be clear, Facebook was also in it. And so what we uncovered was a pretty big deal today. I know that it actually ties into what Laura Loomer has as an actual lawsuit that she's currently pursuing. But this is a pretty big deal. And the fact that the government agencies were communicating with Twitter to interfere in free speech is a massive deal, not just for Republicans, but for everyone.
This is so awesome to see somebody like Laura Loomer taking on the establishment. She's taking on Facebook, Google, big business, big tech, the FBI, the United States government, all by herself with no support from anybody.